Welcome, everyone, to another broadcast of Southern Virginia Athletics. Art Furler here with Mike Harmon as we get ready to kick off the Knights women's basketball home season. The Knights hosting the Mary Baldwin Fighting Squirrels this evening.
And both teams come in without any wins. Someone's going to be happy tonight. On paper, the Knights should get the win and have a home doubleheader win. One of the first times in a long time.
It's true, and boy, if you missed that first game, folks, you should be very glad we record these to YouTube. You should go back and watch it. A heck of a game. The Knights men's basketball team knocking off the team from Bridgewater. Just an amazing outing. But now it's the women's turn, and we'll see how they do tonight. We've got the starting lineups here. First, for the Mary Baldwin Fighting Squirrels, we have number 3, Cabria Johnson, number 11, Tiana Peavy, number 20, Rakima Willis, number 24, Precious Parker, and number 40, Anicia Woods. Mike, you got the starters for the Knights.
Yeah, for the Knights starting tonight will be number 12, Alexis Scott, number 22, Morgan Hartmanson, number 30, Meredith Willett, number 31, Larissa McFarland, and number 41, Shelby Windsor.
And as with the men's team, some familiar faces, some less familiar faces for the Knights squad. Good to see a core of returners, but also some fresh blood coming in.
Yeah, and with the transient nature of the school with missions, marriages, what have you, we have a lot of new faces come in for all the sports. But again, you always want to try to keep that core that can lead into, just lead you into a great season.
Yeah, continuity is a big thing, particularly as just having players that are familiar with the drills that a coach runs, players that are familiar with the offense that can help just really bring things like that together. Huge, something the Knights have not always had the luxury of benefiting from. This season they do. We'll see how that helps them out tonight as we're getting ready for tip-off. And it looks like it's going to be Tiana Peavy for the Fighting Squirrels against Shelby Windsor for the Knights. Shelby's got a little bit of a height advantage out there.
And most of the Knights will have a height advantage. Let's go through some of the rule changes really fast for the women's game because there are plenty of them.
Some significant ones.
Yeah, we'll be playing 4 10-minute periods. The timeouts are down to 3 30-second and 2 60-second timeouts, and only 4 of those timeouts can carry over into the second half. When the ball has not reached the front court, the count doesn't go over again. And there's Mary Baldwin scoring. And then after the 5th foul in each corner, 2 free throws will be awarded. And then when we get to the very end of the game, you can advance the ball over half court with a timeout.
Good defense that time, played by Morgan Hartvidson. It will be out of bounds to the Knights after that first basket by Anicia Woods. Some significant changes there, Mike.
Very significant. Going more towards the international play as we see Mary Baldwin step out into a full court press.
Knights able to break it and get up court. Good look underneath, and that's going to draw that early foul. And that's going to be called on Precious Parker. It'll be her first. Just a quick one. Again, if you're looking at the clock, again, 4 quarters, 10 minutes apiece. Probably the biggest difference, at least as far as game administration is concerned.
Yeah, again, you're playing the 20-minute halves, but it's broken up into quarters now. And then at the end of the second half, less than a minute to go, if you get the ball on your defensive end and do not try to advance it and call a timeout, you can advance the ball up into the hash mark in the front court, a la the NBA.
1 out of 2 that time for Windsor. Ball goes out of bounds, and it will be Knight basketball. Wasn't sure for a second there, but it will stay with the Knights. Willett inbounds the ball. And going a little all over the place. It's going to be a kick and stay with the Knights. Both teams coming in with some nerves. As you mentioned, both teams looking for their first win of the season, so there's a little bit to be nervous about.
A little bit to be nervous about, but
don't want to
the Knights
squander
are
that
at home, so they should have the advantage.
Oh, great look ahead to Larissa, who puts a soft touch on it. Larissa McFarland with the basket. Unless I'm mistaken, that is Larissa Conger from last season.
Larissa Conger from last year. Got married over the summertime.
That's an early substitution coming in. Autumn Kramer will relieve Alexis Scott for the Knights. Rakima Willis moves the ball up court. And the three-pointer is good for Cabria Johnson.
And we've seen a lot of people make a lot of threes tonight.
I was going to say, these rims have been friendly tonight. Good move up court quickly. Oh, pass is behind Windsor, though, as the Fighting Squirrels come back the other way. Short jumper.
Just like on the men's side, a little bit of nerves for the Knights. You can see them aiming the ball and not really following through on their shots, and we'll see them settle down, and those shots will go in.
McFarland inbounding the ball. And Willett bringing it up court for the Knights. Strong at the basket all the way and gets the layup. And the Knights into the full court press. Oh!
Oh, and that's very fortunate for the Knights, as Windsor was kind of easing over with her hip. But did it slow enough that she didn't call it catch the eye of the referee.
Knights working the ball around. Gambier with the lob over the top. Good thought and good cleanup. Shot just off. And in attempting that rebound is McFarland. But it goes out of bounds, and it'll be Mary Baldwin basketball. Good defense immediately off of that, but then gives it right back, but it will stay with the Knights. Both teams, some great plays, some great effort, but very sloppy.
Yeah, again, a lot of nerves. You know, plus they're thinking about Thanksgiving coming up, so it's a day off for them. Again, we'll see as we get into it. It usually takes about 5 minutes into the first halves to get things settled down.
Great idea, but the basket does not go in. Knights back in the press, and just the softest of touches that time. Willett, but she'll get called for the foul.
You know, and we'll see over the course of the season that the women's referees will call more fouls than the men's referees. It seems like they're the ones that really take the NCAA directives more to heart.
Tied at 5-piece, and just a straight-up takeaway that time by Willett. Knights working the ball around. Shot up top is short. Gamby getting out in front of it. The Knights really pressing on defense, and Gamby, she's just all over the place.
Yeah, we saw her last year with the same type of enthusiasm. This year she's calmed it down a lot, able to control a little bit more. We saw her one time pick up 5 fouls in 5 minutes.
Willett that time buries the triple for the Knights. And they go up 8-5 early in this first quarter. Not something we're used to saying.
First quarter.
Not since I announced my last NBA game did I talk about quarters of basketball. Well, I think really at this point the question is who's going to settle down first.
Well, it looks like the Knights are going to settle down first. Again, on paper, just a much superior team as far as height and speed. Being able to rotate a lot of people in. Plus, you're playing at home, so I'm looking for them to settle down a little bit more. Plus, they have one more game underneath their belt, have a couple of scrimmages. So, again, playing at home, you always want to try to put on a great show. That will subside pretty soon, and they'll get into just playing.
So, we'll see how long it takes for that to happen, hopefully relatively quickly. Staying in that press. The Squirrels able to break it.
We'll see them in that press the whole game. That's something that Coach Roberts believes in. When it's working, it's great. When it's not working, you have to kind of wonder about when you're going to get out of it.
And that's going to be a quick foul on Shelby Windsor. It's going to send Mary Baldwin to the free throw line for the first time this evening. Tiana Peavy. And makes them both.
Again, Mary Baldwin's trying to press back on the Knights. The old adage is if you like to press, you don't like to be pressed.
Knights, great job working the ball around. A little strong is Gamby, but immediately back on defense.
And that's where Gamby can get into trouble, is trying to go for all those steals and reaching across the body.
Yeah, it can be a little bit of a liability sometimes. Speaking of old adages, it's you make the mistake, you miss a shot, and then you compound it by trying to overplay on the defense. But it also creates a lot of
it can create
steals.
a lot of havoc, yeah.
As it did right there, comes up with it. And chasing behind again. Good baseline defense that time by Windsor, but Anicia Woods able to put it in over the top of her. Gamby now going up court. And it'll stay with the Knights. Knights now trailing 9-8 in this first quarter. Looking for the inbound and finds Willett. Going around the outside is Hartvigsson to Gamby. Good look inside and finds the back door open. Shelby Windsor. And there's that quick foul again.
Second on Gamby, and she's going to have to come out of the game.
Yeah, 2 fouls
and that's
very quickly.
That's the 5th foul in each half. After the 5th foul, you're shooting 2. No more 1-and-1 in the women's game. We're getting into more international play.
Distinct difference there. So 6 minutes left. And the first by Rakima Willis is good. Willis for the second. High arching shot is off, almost gets her own, but quick on the rebound is Johnson. The Knights able to avoid a catastrophe there. And hustle defense by Mary Baldwin, able to deflect that one. The Knights will maintain possession, but they're starting to be hampered a bit by this defense.
Yeah, and even though the Fighting Squirrels aren't hitting the threes, this game is really taking on some of the same characteristics as the men's game. In the first half, the Eagles were able to do what they wanted. Right now, the Squirrels are able to do what they want. The Knights are struggling a little bit to find their shots.
Shot miss followed by Willette. Second one doesn't drop either. Squirrels coming back and well off on that one. Good look ahead that time by Windsor. Unable to convert the the layup. It will stay with the Knights. A little bit out of control that time. It's like maybe lost control. Either take your time and put that one in, be sure of it, or give it off.
Yeah, a little bit of a jump stop and a shot fake would have been great.
Back up top to Shea Wilcox, who drives in, no good on the layup. And the press is on and traveling. There's that defensive pressure, you know. If you can break the press, you can do a lot of damage, but it's situations like that that coaches like to run it for.
Exactly. We'd really like to see the Knights take advantage of Shelby Windsor on the inside a little bit more, and Larissa Conger, who has just crazy skills for such a 5'8" player. She plays more like a 6'1" player.
Look inside. Great job that time. The inbounds to McFarland, who finds Willette. And back the other way. An altered shot. Autumn Kramer checks in and will give a breather to Shelby Windsor.
Now with the Knights going small, I expect to see more movement on the offensive end and a lot more cuts to the basket.
Oh, and a steal on the inbounds by McFarland. That was impressive.
And that's something that McFarland's done her whole career here. As a freshman, we used to put her up on the point of the press and just tell her, get the ball.
Yeah, it's so hard to read the eyes, read the timing of when that ball is going to come in, jump at the right time. Great job to do that. Not only to deflect it, but to collect it and move it back. And a great job the Knights men's team could take a little bit of a lesson from that, driving through the contact. Hartvigsson does that and is rewarded with the free throw shots, of which she's already made the first. And the second. Morgan Hartvigson's been a great shooter. Oh, and jumping out in front there is McFarland. Pulls up, makes the shot for the Knights. And this press is just giving the Squirrels fits at this point. Now able to break it, 2-on-1 all the way, but immediate poor shot, rebound, coming back the other way. Hartvigsson. Dish back inside, one pass too many looks like.
Here comes the back tap. Oh, just so close.
Fighting Squirrels now trying for the rebound. The Knights with four bodies down low, able to crash the boards. Hartvigsson.
And now that the Squirrels have gotten behind, you see them jacking up a bunch of shots that they weren't taking in the first part of the first quarter.
Yeah, a little bit of panic perhaps.
Yeah, a little bit of a panic, trying to get everything back at one time.
Three-pointer's no good, but the Knights just suffocating, and a great job, McFarland again.
And that's going to be the key to the season for the Knights, is how well is McFarland going to play, especially against some of the better teams that they're going to be going up against. And can she get into the lane as much as she wants to?
McFarland called for that foul. The Knights really pressing hard.
I think they called that on Kramer.
They did. In and out on the first attempt by Juanisa Singletary. Well, this substitutions in. Clark for the Knights.
This is a great game for the Knights to get their bearings and their feet underneath them, because they're getting ready to start into a long stretch of really tough CAC teams, and then they're going out to Oregon to play, and they're playing against some great Division II teams. One that was the national runner-up So this game, they're going to have to do a lot of fine tuning of what they want to do.
Yep. Oh, great move down the lane that time, Shelby Windsor. Boy, the Knights have long wanted a big body with the handle as well.
And there's your foul on Conger, or McFarland.
You know, the immediate thought back as far as big bodies down low for the Knights is Crystal Cleveland, who was a heck of a rebounder and putting back shots. Not as skilled, it appears, of a ball handler as they may have in Windsor.
And she's on a mission for the LDS Church now, doing some marvelous work out in Idaho. I know that she's looking to come back and finish off her senior year.
Shout out to her. We love her. We're sure she's not watching because she's on a mission. But certainly best to her and her family. Long drive, a little bit out of control, but gathered well by McFarland. But then the turnover.
And there's the quick hands. Quick hands of McFarland again.
She'd make a heck of a goalie, Mike.
She would.
I mean, her hands are always in the right place. They're just getting in front of everything.
Should be a 10-second call now. There it is. Oh, and they called a foul before the 10 seconds. I can't believe it.
I see 19 on the shot clock. That's going to be a foul on Shea Wilcox, which is going to send Rakima Willis to the line.
Coach Roberts better watch out. These referees do not take being back talked to, and she's coming close to a technical.
Yeah, you could tell the look on that one was not.
I've seen that look plenty of times.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You wouldn't know what a technical foul looked like.
There's a couple times I was begging for him.
That's going to be a lane violation, I believe.
As a coach, you figure out really fast which referees you can intimidate and which one's not going to take anything from you.
It's moving it up court, working the ball around, splitting defenders, and great job by Windsor. Lost the ball, but able to get it back and finish strong. And giving it right back and going up strong that time is Hartvigsen.
And again, you'd like to see Hartvigsen finish that off, moved her arms a little bit to try to get away from the contact.
And that's going to be Precious Parker's second foul. Again, this is a quarter, not a half. So picking up 2 in the first quarter is big. Kirsten Brazil is going to come in substituting for Parker. Hartvigsen shooting second and makes it. And the pressure is back on and just nowhere to go.
And there's the foul again. Again, they are going to give 90% of the calls to the offense. That's something that both teams, the men and the women, are going to have to figure that out.
Well, and especially because that's, this pressing defense is a holdover from last year with the Knights, but with the rules being different, that's going to make it even more difficult.
Well, this is something that Coach Roberts believes in. She is not going to change her mind. She's going to play this way. So she's going to have to adjust and have her team adjust to the little body fouls and the touch fouls that the referees obviously are going to be calling this year.
McFarland checking back in. And the second one is good for Rakima Willis. Good look over the top.
Nice high-low.
Knights have opportunities to clear out, and they do. Working around the outside.
Shuffled her feet.
Just got a little too excited. That time was Willette. Mary Baldwin now, just under 2 minutes left in this first quarter. Pressure applied by Wilcox. 3 very short. The putback is good for Anicia Woods.
And again, the Knights are going to have to gain rebound. They can't just rely on Windsor to try to rebound the ball
and that three-pointer is good for Morgan Hartvigsen. We've said that a few times over the years, Mike.
Exactly, and you want to see Morgan do more of that. She's so unselfish. She gives up more shots than she really should.
Kick to the outside. Very long.
And that's what you want to do if you're the Knights. Force Mary Baldwin to take those long shots. They're really not that great of three-point shooters. But again, Morgan Hartvigsen has really evolved over the past 2 or 3 years as a player. You just want to see her keep on going.
If a team's not that great a three-point shooter, you really want to force them into those corners as well, where mistakes are even more pronounced. Nice 15-footer that time, put up by Shelby Windsor. And hard drive to the basket that time by Johnson. And that one's going to be Windsor, her second. And that's where we'll have a couple bodies come to the scorer's table to check in.
And this is, again, this is concerning. It's the first quarter, or the first 10 minutes of the game, and one of your main players has 2 fouls on her already. That's something that, again, the players are going to have to adjust to the way the referees are calling the game.
Alexa Scott checking in for the Knights, and also Christina Siegmiller, who comes up with that rebound. Siegmiller back for her senior year. And immediately, that basket good for Alexa Scott. .30 remaining in this first quarter. Good defense by Siegmiller. The air ball by Mary Baldwin, but the stick back is good by Cabria Johnson.
Again, you got to find a body and box people out.
Knights should be able to hold for the last shot of this quarter. Shot does go up early, but it's good. Morgan Hartvigsen buries another triple. And that'll end out the quarter. Gosh, it's going to take some getting used to. The Knights with an impressive 33 points in the first quarter to the 18 of Mary Baldwin.
Well, unofficially, the Knights 13 of 25 from the field, 3 of 5 from the three-point line, 4 of 6 from the free throw line, but they've caused 9 turnovers and they've scored 12 points off those 9 turnovers they've caused. So again, that's the type of game plan that Coach Roberts has. It's working tonight. We've seen other times that it didn't work so much. Again, they're trying to fine-tune now going into, they're playing against Washington and Lee this weekend. Then they start into Marymount and Christopher Newport for basketball, and then they go out to Oregon and play some major Division II teams. It's going to be very interesting to see how this press and these fouls will continue to evolve.
Well, and that foul thing is the big question at this point, Mike. 10 fouls. Again, we're used to seeing 10 or getting in the double bonus in a half. Not so in a quarter. So that could creep up on them very quickly. But at the same time, the free throw shooting percentage, not that great for the Fighting Squirrels.
No, and again, we said earlier, on paper, the Knights should win this game rather easily. Don't want to take anything away from the Fighting Squirrels. It's a program in construction. Mm-hmm. They lost a head coach very early into the recruiting season last year, and so again, the new coach has come in, done a wonderful job to make sure they have enough people. But again, it's a program that's trying to build.
Fighting Squirrels come up with a turnover that time. Johnson pushes. Going back to the middle. Swings to the corner for the shot. Very short. And it's going to be a little bit of a push in the back, it looks like.
Yeah, Morgan used her hips to clear out again.
Probably not a good foul in that situation either. They're already under the basket. It's a difficult shot to make. And making the first one is Johnson, who a bright spot from the free throw line for the Fighting Squirrels so far tonight.
You know, the Knight's schedule coming up is not a cakewalk by any means. You have Washington and Lee coming up this weekend, Marymount and York here the December 2nd and 5th. You have George Fox, Williamette, and Linfield out in Oregon. Then you come back and you go to Christopher Newport, St. Mary's, and Penn State Harrisburg.
Strong move by Alexis Scott that time to pick up the bucket. And those are, it's a tough row to hoe, and especially in pretty short succession also. Good job by Siegmiller to defend, not pick up the foul. And another bucket down low, that time Larissa McFarland.
Again, this is a great game for the Knights to work on all their presses, their offenses, their man-to-man defenses, to fine-tune things. As we get further into the game, we're going to see that the Knights have more bodies able to get up and down the floor, just like on the men's side, and eventually wear the squirrels out. Hopefully they're able to do this as they get into the conference season.
Yeah, at some point in the season, there's going to be a more difficult matchup than a Knight to a squirrel, you would imagine.
Well, again, Marymount's coming up, who's always in the top 3 for the conference, the CAC conference. And then once you get back from Christmas break, you're playing Christopher Newport.
Boy, that was a great connection that time. Willette to McFarland.
Well, you got McFarland, who's just a very smart player. She knows how to find the gaps in the defense, and she goes there, makes herself available for all the passes.
Good ball movement that time, but the shot no good. Scott coming down with that one for the Knights, and just gets a bit too far ahead. Substantial lead so far for the Knights, 39-20. 8 minutes left here in this second quarter. Good look ahead, but Knights defense able to collapse to it. Willette looking up floor, decides to take it herself. And just such a quick rotation that time.
Again, if
Willette
you give
Scott to McFarland.
You give McFarland the shot down there on that block with someone that's her size or smaller, she will make that shot 90% of the time.
Well, and especially when you whip it around to her so quickly, makes it tough for the defense to adjust to. They just work that ball around. 1 second it's at the top of the key, 2 passes, and 1 second later it's down low. That's just so difficult to defend.
Well, hopefully McFarland's, last year she was just coming off a mission, trying to work her way back into shape. She's been really working hard summertime and in the fall so far this year, trying to make sure that she is 100%. Really look for her to be on one of the CAC all-conference teams.
She's certainly showing that potential tonight. Offensive side of the field, or court, defensive side of the court, just really making her presence felt all over the place. Mary Baldwin basketball. Back in the press. Shea Wilcox applying the pressure. Cabria Johnson, the leading scorer for the Fighting Squirrels so far. And push off. A little bit of ticky-tack maybe, but...
Well, it did give the offense an advantage, and that's what the referees have been instructed to call. If the offense or defense gains an advantage, you have to call the foul.
That one on Chantel Jennings. Good job by Siegmiller to collapse back to the ball. Elbow.
You're probably going to get that on Siegmiller.
And that's going to be a quick second foul on her.
And again, you can see how these fouls really start to add up. And it's kind of taking the coaches by surprise because of the quarters right now.
Too high on that one. That's going to be a carry. Juanisa Singletary. Sorry, you were saying, Mike.
Oh, right now you're used to thinking about, we're getting ready to get into the second half because we've had a timeout and a quarter already ended. You're not used to that. But like you said, you're up to about 15 team fouls right now with only playing 13 minutes.
Adding up quickly, and certainly that'll not only the free throws, but it puts some of your key players in critical situations as well.
You know, and against a team like Mary Baldwin, it may not come back to haunt you, and it probably won't. But when you're playing York and you're playing Marymount and you're playing Mary Washington and CNU, those things can be the difference between winning and losing a game.
Wilcox gave it up on the last play, but gets it back this time. Good look. Siegmiller able to gather underneath, get the stick back. Despite the 2 fouls, staying in and making a good bucket for the Knights. Mary Baldwin looking to close this gap before halftime. Well off the mark.
And I think Mary Baldwin has just run out of gas. You see that the shots are coming up way long. They're just heaving it instead of shooting it.
Siegmiller again.
And you have to credit the Knights' defense and offense for that because they're really pushing the pace.
Rebound collected. And just kind of a lob down court there. Presumably to Chantel Jennings, but 2 Knights there to pick it off. The Knights working it around. You can tell that's exactly what's going on as subs get ready to come in for Mary Baldwin. And that's going to be Kirsten Brazil, Precious Parker, who again picked up 2 fouls early. And Chelsea Jones makes her first appearance.
You know, and I was talking to the Mary Baldwin softball coach who's here to keep the book for them. And we think that we travel far in our football conference and the CAC conference. They have teams in the middle of Tennessee, down into Georgia, into Alabama that they have to go. I don't know how these young ladies make it to class all the time, but Mary Baldwin, they're allowed 1 absence out of a class.
Wow. Working the ball around. Hartvigsson giving it up. Maybe should have taken it, but good looks. Moving it around. Gathering her own miss is McFarland.
Almost like David Beatty trying to pad her stats.
Yep.
Another offensive.
Yeah, McFarland with another offensive rebound. The Knights with several opportunities there, but come up empty.
And when I coached Larissa, we kind of equated her with the Energizer Buddy. She never runs out of energy.
Oh, and a lot of push in the back, and that will be a foul call. It's going to be Precious Parker. That's her 3rd, if it is, and it is. That's that 3rd foul. Still 4.5 minutes left in this second quarter. So we are very unlikely to see her at least for the rest of this half. And that foul on Chelsea Jones, her first, and the triple from the corner.
You can't leave Morgan that wide open and not expect it to hit the bottom.
And proving that lesson right there. And the steal on the backside and keeping it in bounds is Shea Wilcox. Very impressive play. Oh, and
that's a foul.
Yep, with the body. Rakima Willis throwing a little bit of a hip in there, and that'll be her 2nd. So the Knights have certainly had more fouls, but on key players, 2 of the 3 starters from Mary Baldwin now with 2 and 3, which is, I believe, more than the Knights starters have on a couple of keys as well. If my tally is correct, and there's been a lot of fouls, so it may very well not be. I'm counting 5 fouls on Southern Virginia starters and 6 on Mary Baldwin starters.
And McFarland on the free throw line.
Kirsten Brazil called for the foul. It's her first. McFarland makes the first. And that's going to be Autumn Kramer checking back in. A couple of fouls on her already. Just a beautiful shot that time. McFarland unofficially, I believe, 14 points. Uncharacteristic fall there, and not sure what that call is going to be.
Well, again, offense is driving in, causing the contact. More times than not, it's going to be a foul on the defense.
Shea Wilcox called for it, her second, and those fouls piling up. Rakima Willis to the line. Wilcox is going to come out now, pursuant to her second foul. Willette back in. Willis, I believe, was 6 now for Mary Baldwin. Skip pass up top, working it around. Hartvigsen in the corner. Mary Baldwin closing out wisely. It will stay with the Knights. You can tell Mary Baldwin recognizing Hartvigsen as a shooter now, closing out on her.
Yeah, they're going to close out on her hard. So now it's time for Morgan to give a little shot fake, one dribble, and just shoot the mid-range jump shot. Oh, and an awkward place to bring the ball in.
It's working the ball around again, back to the inside, and that's going to be a foul over the back, I'm guessing. It is Kirsten Brazil, who just recently picked up her first, and now has a second to go with it. And Nicole Muse, Chantel Jennings at the scorer's table for the first time tonight.
Not now. Meredith, I want you to play. Who's playing up?
McFarland, consistent form and just silent. There's not even a swish when it goes in.
Again, that's a senior for you. A lot of playing time she's accumulated, able to really get up to the free throw line and concentrate and just take it for what it is, 3 points.
Yeah, just a mammoth first half. Off the foot, and it's going back the other way. And a foul, presumably, by Cabria Johnson. It is indeed. Great job by the Knights to pick the pocket there, just suffocating defense. And that's going to send Autumn Kramer to the line. The first is good. Second, not so much. But there's that defense again, and thrown away, but collected for the moment, but only for the moment. The Knights get it back. And Alexis Scott converts. The press broken now, numbers. And the three is good for Juanisa Singletary.
And the Knights have such post presence that they could probably go inside anytime they wanted to really score. Willette over, drive, creates contact, not called.
Yeah, nothing called either way, despite a couple players hitting the deck. And the press is broken again, and numbers again for the Fighting Squirrels. And a three again.
Well, that's a long two inside the arc there. We still have two arcs out there on the floor, which we should get rid of one at some point.
Throwing me off. So the former men's line, now the women's line.
Oh, and that
as
should
well.
have been a foul.
Teeing up from the outside, not so much. Oh!
50-50 ball.
Mary Baldwin comes up with it and able to break the press again. And yeah, I guess that's probably a foul that time on Alexis Scott.
But if you're going to foul in that situation, she did it right.
Yep.
The ball does not come out of the hands.
Yep. No opportunity to get the and one. Rakima Willis at the line. Off on the first. Christina Siegmiller back in the lineup for the Knights. And Tiana Peavy re-entering for Mary Baldwin.
Well, unofficially, here's some stats that are really telling for the game. The Fighting Squirrels, 7 of 26 from the field for 26%, 2 of 8 from the three-point line for 25%, and 11 of 18 from the free throw line for 61%. On the other hand, the Knights, 20 of 42 from the field, 47%, 4 of 7 from the three-point line for 57%, and 9 of 12 from the free throw line for 75%. And then the points off turnovers for the Knights, 19 points off of turnovers.
You take that away, and this is a very significantly closer ball game. And really, you look at those shooting percentages, it's close to 2-1, which is why the score is pretty much in that range as well. Second shot by Rakima Willis is good. She's done well from the free throw line so far tonight.
Looks like Mary Baldwin's gone into a little 2-3 zone.
Finishing through contact that time is Christina Siegmiller. Knights backing off their press. And giving up on that one. Picked up by Kramer. Good look ahead, the no look pass, but defended well. Going back the other way. Offensive foul. Siegmiller gets in front. Gets position. Boy, just in time, but does establish position. It's a risky thing to do to try to get out in front there, but is able to do that, get position, and is rewarded with the offensive foul. Hartwigson on the outside, moves it back to Willette. Swings around to Scott. That's a foul on Brittany 10. Not sure what the ref saw on that.
She got two hands into the back. You can only use a forearm or one hand. Again, another point of emphasis trying to clean up some post play.
Sends Christina Siegmiller to the line. Too strong on the first. Shea Wilcox coming in for Siegmiller, if she makes it. And she does. Make the shot, rewarded with a trip to the bench.
Get to get some water.
Yeah, there you go. I do love me some water.
And I don't know, maybe they have Gatorade. We got Gatorade bottles out here, so maybe they got Gatorade.
Yeah, you never know.
Wonder what color.
That a quick foul call on Wilcox. That's going to be her third. Again, in the first half. So that's a couple of players now, one for each team. Precious Parker's gotten hers quite quickly. And Rakima Willis just making a living at the free throw line tonight.
Well, again, you have to play to what the referees are calling. And the referees are calling a lot of the little hand checks. Anytime you get into the lane, they're calling the contact. She's just playing to what the referees are allowing.
So you'd say...
I'd tell them keep driving.
Yeah, making a living there. Nice work if you can get it.
Exactly.
And tonight they can. Hartwigson thought about it, moved it back up to Willette, thought about it again. Bit of a screen, 35 seconds left. much less. Oh, good pocket pass. And heck of a shot by Kramer, off balance across the body. Shot clock is now off. 20 seconds left here in the first half.
See if Mary Baldwin tries to play for the
good
last
look
one.
inside.
Knights will have the last chance.
Yeah, didn't hold for the last shot. Interesting. And that one over Hartvigson's head.
Again, just the pass was on the outside of her body instead of the inside of the court, which is what we wanted to see.
Yep, sped up just a little bit. 5 seconds. Shot is off, and that will do it. A successful first half for the Knights, I would say, leading 58-30 going into the second half here. And also really scaling back the fouls in the second quarter. That was the big issue that they had in the first.
Yeah, but overall in the first half, 16 fouls in the first half is still a lot of fouls to have in 2 quarters. Again, it's not hurting them now, but when you start playing better teams, again, the upper echelon of the Capital Conference, that is something that can really come back to hurt you. Again, the Knights, both, like I said, men and women have to learn how to play to what the referees are calling.
Well, and playing not just for today, but for tomorrow as well.
Exactly. But again, causing a lot of turnovers. Caused 17 turnovers against the Fighting Squirrels. On the other hand, they've turned the ball over themselves 13 times with not a lot of pressure on them. Again, a young team, though, so that's something that you want to try to work on in practice. But again, the points on turnovers, 20-7 for the Knights. That's why we see the 28-point lead.
Well, we'll see what happens with that in the second half coming up. As of right now, some halftime entertainment here just a little bit. We'll leave you on this as you watch some youngsters, potentially some future Knights playing here. We'll join you back here in about 10 minutes for the beginning of the second half. Welcome everyone to the beginning of the second half, or I guess more correctly, the third quarter. Technically, I guess both are true, but as long as we're emphasizing rule changes, we'll go ahead and point that out. Got some stats in front of us. Mike, what jumps out at you from the first half?
Well, it jumps out at me is Rakima Willis, 9 of 11 from the free throw line. The Fighting Squirrels took a total of 21 free throws. That does not bode well for the Knights against better teams.
Well, what else jumps out at me there? She's 9 for 11 from the free throw line. She has how many points?
9 points.
0 for 5.
0 for 5.
And 0 for 2 from 3. Let her take it.
For the Knights, what jumps out at me is Larissa McFarland, 6 of 10 from the field, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, and Morgan Hartmanson, 3 of 4 from the three-point line. Plus the Knights have 26 total rebounds as opposed to the Squirrels' 12.
Cabria Johnson now makes the bucket and the free throw, putting her at 10, making her the leading scorer now for the Fighting Squirrels.
Shelby Windsor picked up her third foul within the first 20 seconds of the third quarter.
Yeah, that's difficult for her. Almost the steal there. Works it over to Gamby. Skip pass over the top. And bottoms for Hartvigsen. Morgan Hartvigsen now with 14 for the Knights, who's overshadowed only by McFarland.
Well, there's 24 Precious Parker back in with their 3 fouls, paying off dividends for the Knights, for the Fighting Squirrels.
Knights working back to the inside. There's McFarland going up strong, despite having contact from a couple people, essentially triple teamed earlier.
Well, that's where Larissa really needs it when she catches the ball. Face the basket. If no one's there, she's quick enough that she should be able to make it to the rim as fast as possible.
It's number 40, Anicia Woods. Called for the foul, her first. And an uncharacteristic miss from McFarland.
Yeah, her first of the night.
She's human.
She is human.
What do you know?
But she's a good human.
Makes the second. And immediately getting in front of that to pick up the steal. And the look ahead. Great job, Willette and Windsor connecting on that one. And pressure again, Gamby this time, and just a scrum leads to a jump ball.
And I dare say that the third quarter has not started out in pretty fashion, but effective fashion for the Knights.
True, I'll give you that. Lob over the top. Back and three-pointer is off. Gamby there to clean it up and makes the follow-up. Her first points of the game. And that is a very quick fourth foul.
That's the fourth foul on Shelby.
And the immediate substitution for Autumn Kramer.
Again, this is something that the players have to start realizing, hey, the referees are going to call touch fouls. I cannot do that.
Yep. Driving hard to the lane. Great finish as well by Willis. And I believe that's her first basket, not a free throw, so I was wrong as far as letting her have it.
Well, that was Gamby Gardner, and she had to back off because she's got 2 fouls. Don't want to pick up that third one and sit out.
Knights working around. Find Hartvigsen. Giving up the opportunity. Taking that one and makes it. Hartvigsen just doing damage. And the immediate putback, Gamby 1-on-5. And steals it again. And one. Just a defensive powerhouse. Good night. gets the steal, the second steal, and then the basket misses the free throw, but that's also the 4th foul on Precious Parker. And the stick back by Willette. Knights really starting to run away with it now. Good look inside. Good back to the basket move. The Knights out in transition though. Gambee decides to take it all the way. Too strong. And now coming back the other way. Cabria Johnson does not have numbers.
Again, you can see the Fighting Squirrels getting caught up in the running game that the Knights want to play.
Great job by Gambee to get out in front of that one and collect it. And she's all of a sudden getting a lot of points. She didn't have anything in the first half. She's got 6 in the first 3 minutes of the second.
She was only able to play about 2 minutes in the first quarter.
Okay, that's true.
Picked up those 2 quick fouls.
Too strong on that one. And look ahead to Gambee again. Pulls up this time, feeling it. Goes short, tries to gather her own rebound. Unable to do so, but 2 of the Knights scrapping it among themselves, able to get it out to Gambee. Working around, it was tipped. 15 seconds now on the shot clock, not something we've seen a lot of. And that's going to be out of bounds off of Mary Baldwin. Shea Wilcox checking in for the Knights, and Kirsten Brazil for Mary Baldwin. Nice soft hands, quick catch by McFarland, puts it right back up. She's sitting on 19.
Yeah, very quick off the floor by Larissa.
Mary Baldwin working the perimeter. And stripped. The Knights come up with it again. Pushing it in transition. McFarland, good dish. That was a great awareness shown by McFarland to find Willette. Nice move down the middle. And a good tip back, but the Knights looking to press again. Willette to McFarland to Willette, and it's good. And that's going to be a timeout taken by the Fighting Squirrels. No surprise, boy, it has been Hartvigsen, Willette, and McFarland leading the way with 17, 14, and 19, respectively, just doing damage.
They've really got into the gas tank of the Squirrels. You noted that the Squirrels didn't come out until the very end of the halftime. Didn't take a shot, trying to get as much rest as possible. Again, just with the sheer numbers that the Knights are able to throw out there, and the pace of play has really got into the Squirrels, and they are just not a step behind, but 2 or 3 steps behind.
Well, and that's something the Knights have been familiar with themselves in certain situations. There's only been a couple of years since this Knights squad had a very short roster. We talked several times during volleyball season about the short roster there, how difficult it is to deal with that, and especially as games press on, and even more difficult when the team can really press the speed, as you said. (80-37). The Knights with a substantial lead here, and Mary Baldwin trying to close that gap. Unlucky, dribbles off of her own foot, but it does go off of a Knight player. With Shea Wilcox. Running down the lane, and that's going to be a foul. McFarland, despite gathering a lot of points, not too many on fouls.
No, she, again, she understands how to play. Being a senior, playing as much as she has, she understands what the referees are looking for and makes adjustments very quickly.
They're showing that as her first. I'm pretty sure that's her second. We've got one on the end of the first half saying she had one. Oh, there it is. They've corrected it. And that one awry. Oh, travels on that one. Just that extra step.
And that's going to be one of the things that the Knights are going to battle all year long. They don't really have a true point guard. So it's going to be an issue of who's bringing the ball down, who's trying to go back and be the one that starts things up. Willette is the closest thing to have to a true point guard. But from what I understand, she'd much rather be a shooting guard.
Yeah, who's going to create the offense. And Gamby with the rebound and off to the races. Working it around. Siegmiller trying to get open underneath. And 3 seconds in the lane.
Knights get caught for 3 seconds. They feel like they have such a huge height advantage that they're getting in there and they're just camping out, begging for the ball, and the guards aren't delivering it to them soon enough.
And when you're open in that position, you don't want to leave it. But there's that looming call.
Even though they don't call it as much as they should, it does get called once or twice a game.
Gamby comes up with another steal and finishes at the other end. 8 points now for her in this third quarter.
Siegmiller with a little nudge with the leg there.
And that's going to be, I believe, her third. It is indeed. So as far as foul trouble, we have Windsor with 4, Siegmiller with 3, Wilcox with 3, and a few others with 1 and 2. And that inbound directly to Wilcox. That's going to be a foul on Juanisa Singletary. That is her first. Foul trouble on the Fighting Squirrel side. Parker with 4. Willis with 2. Several others with 2 and 1 apiece, so really just the one. And fighting for that one is Gamby, but nobody home to give it to. She's already back up on her feet and at the other end of the court challenging.
Very quick player.
What a motor. Now with the rebound. And looking to give it off to Wilcox, who's playing point right now for the Squirrels. Skip pass up top. Around to the outside. Gamby with it again. Up top to Wilcox. 10 seconds left. Good ball movement. Back outside. 5 seconds. And nice up and under.
Nice reverse layup.
Autumn Kramer. Very impressive move just as the shot clock was winding down.
That's the people that are passing. So it's not that it's not.
And Gamby with another. I've got to see this stat of how many steals she's got. It's just ridiculous. She's got 10, and I believe 8 of them are off of steals that she has herself created. And maybe won't get credit for it, but created another one there. Wilcox at the top. Gets a screen and a travel, and it will go the way of Mary Baldwin. Katie Durant checking in for the Knights now, along with Alexa Scott for Siegmiller and McFarland. And Shelby Windsor coming back in.
Let's see how long Shelby's going to play. Has she made the adjustment to the way the referee's going to call the game, or is she going to be out there for about a minute, pick up her last foul, and call it a night?
Yeah, that
maybe
might,
she wants an early night off.
That might be exactly why Coach Roberts put her in, to see if she can trust her.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they had a talk, and you can see Shelby playing off, no hands on her, trying to learn how to play with 4 fouls.
Rainbow from Singletary is good. She's got 9 now. And close to an offensive foul. Certainly an offensive foul according to Andrew Stevens, head coach of the Fighting Squirrels, who's calling for it. But instead, it's going to be a foul on Ariana Flannery.
Yeah, and Shelby has a chance now to get into double figures.
And on the first.
Past her 10th point.
Minute 24 left here in the third quarter. Second one is good as well. Windsor quietly having a good night of her own.
Again, just like Justin Langford on the men's team, the Lady Knights are really going to need her in bigger games to be able to stay out on the floor much longer.
Foul on the drive there. That's going to be Katie Durant, which is her first. Nice work if you can get it, Rakima Willis.
And great news for the Knights in the third quarter with 4 people in double figures. Larissa McFarland with 19, Morgan Harperson 17, Meredith Willette with 13, and Shelby Windsor with 11.
You love to see that as a coach, to have distributed scoring.
It's so nice. Usually you say if you can have 3 people in double figures, you got a great chance to win. 4, 5, 6 people in double figures, you know you're going to win.
It's a clock issue on that. Getting that resolved. The Knights inbound now with 1:05 left here in the third quarter. So, got that squared away. 1:05 on the play, or on the game clock for the third quarter. 27 on the shot clock.
They're still trying to figure it out. There we go. I think we finally got it.
But I thought it was supposed to be.
Let's just play.
I have on good authority that it's not going to make a difference in this game whether we have 3 seconds added right there.
That's right.
Good look inside, and a strong finish by Windsor, who's done a great job being in this game, not picking up that 5th foul.
And it's on the defensive end where she's had some problems, and you can see that she's playing more with her feet and not trying to play with her hands.
Stick back, no good. Second stick back, no good. Some great defense being played by Meredith Willette. And the lob ahead, taken in by Wilcox. In trouble, able to get out to Windsor, whose shot is short, and out in front is Jennings. Challenging the shot is Wilcox. And that's going to be Kirsten Brazil. Call for the foul, I believe her 3rd.
And now what you worry about when you get to this stage, this big of a point spread, you start to worry about some of your key players being hurt. So I think in the fourth quarter, we won't see Willette out there. We won't see Windsor out there. Let some of the other players that don't have as much experience get in there and get some playing time.
Well, and it's that balance of wanting to make sure that your players have game experience and also making sure that they're not getting hurt. So
yes.
it's kind of trying to balance those two aspects. Second one is good for Alexis Scott.
Well, we've seen the value for Windsor and Willette. They cannot be out for an extended period of time, or else this Knight team will have really no point guard and no inside presence.
And the rebound will end the half. Shelby
Third
Windsor.
quarter.
You know, by the end of this season, I may get it.
Really? No, it's going to be a long season for us because I'm going to do the same thing again. The women's rule committee is much more progressive than the men's. The men's goes very slow. They want to test everything out. The women's rule committee just jumps in and says they're smart enough they can figure it out. They don't think about poor people like us who have to try to catch up with it also.
Well, the third quarter finished out 91-43, the Knights with a commanding lead in this one. What do you expect to see coming up here in the fourth, besides perhaps some players with that are used to getting less playing time on the floor?
Well, hopefully they're going to start working on, maybe if they have a zone, try to work on it, try to protect some people, maybe work on a little bit more offensive execution, because there's going to come a time when they're going to have to be able to perform offensively and execute whatever sets they want and not just be able to rely on turnovers and layups.
Well, they've definitely been able to rely on turnovers so far in this game. And the primary creator of that, Jamila Gamby, just has been all over the place.
Well, the turnover situation, they've caused 27 turnovers and scored 30 points off those turnovers. And that's, if you're going to be playing this type of gambling defense, that's what you want, is when the opponents don't turn the ball over and they torture defense. That's when you have to rely on some other things, and that's what the Knights should be working on in this quarter. Oh, nice backdoor cut.
Yep, strong move. Basket does not drop.
Good rebound by Segmiller, being able to just pull it down, chin it, not bring it down to where the Munchkins live.
Inside to Durant. Has her shot blocked. Fighting Squirrels coming back the other way. Christina Siegmiller with the rebound. Coming back, Hartvigsen now, the ball carrier. Sends it up to Durant, but just a little outside of her reach.
Now, I don't know if we'll see McFarland back in tonight, but she's 1 point away from 20 points. Hartvison's 3 points away from 20 points, and that's a big milestone to get that 20-point mark.
Basket that time good by Cabria Johnson. Well, and you want to make your players happy. You want to give them those opportunities, but you also want to protect them. It's like you kids always want to eat candy, and you want to make them happy, but it's not always good for them.
Exactly.
Skip pass. Too strong that time by Scott, but the stick back is good.
And again, the game's not in doubt. So why put some of your better players at risk just on a freak accident that could happen?
Wilcox getting her first points of the night.
Oh, that should be out of bounds for the Knights.
Can't come in from out of bounds and be the first to touch it.
You can if you reestablish yourself with both feet. She was still in the air.
Well, right. I think she came in straight from out of bounds. Not the football rule. Big skip pass over the top by Wilcox. Good
wide
look
open.
inside.
Good job by Durant. Nice high-low from Segmiller to Durant.
So that's another interesting statistic. That now makes every Knight player who has been in the game has scored a point.
And that's great for the confidence level. That's great for execution because they're going to have to rely on this game in order to get them through some of the upcoming games.
Yeah, good opportunity to spread it around. And just breakdown in defense allows Hartvigsen to go all the way to the cup.
And that's her 19th point.
Now testing the middle. Short on that, and Durant, I believe, actually tipping that one away. That'll reset the shot clock. Wilcox brings it up court. Drives hard, and nice back tip. And the Fighting Squirrels now with the run out. And there's that gas, though.
Yeah.
Knights able to catch up and change that shot. Just more left in the tank at this point, Mike.
Yeah, they're running on fumes right now. which is part of the night's game plan, and their strength and conditioning really try to prepare them to play this pace for 40 minutes.
Shot no good. Mary Baldwin now bringing it back, but you can tell the pace of them coming up court is just slowed significantly. Shot buried that time by Cabria Johnson. That's going to bring Nicole Clark into the game for the Knights. So a few Squirrels players have had significant contributions tonight. Cabria Johnson, certainly. I believe she's at 14. Juanisa Singletary has had a good night as well. I believe she's at 9. And Rakima Willis, who we've mentioned several times now, doing well, I believe, at 13.
Yeah, but as you said, they're bringing the ball up much slower. You can see that the legs just aren't there on some of their shots. Even on the layups, they're just not getting any lift. And it's going to be a very quiet ride home for the Fighting Squirrels. I'm sure they're only 45 minutes away, but I bet they'll be sleeping that 45 minutes.
Understandable. Well, and hopefully, as you mentioned, next couple of days, relax a little bit.
Well,
maybe.
I'm sure they're
Thanksgiving at least.
Well, on Thanksgiving, they probably have a little shoot around. Tomorrow they'll have a good practice, but they'll be able to not go to class and so get some sleep in, because both teams have games coming up Friday or Saturday.
Strong move by Johnson. And one. It's going to be a foul on Alexis Scott, her third.
And the Squirrels are trying to live up to their moniker, the Fighting Squirrels. They don't want to go down without giving all that they have.
Yeah, Fighting Squirrel is a worthy mascot. The lazy squirrel, not so much. The tired squirrel.
You can be tired after the game.
There you go. And rounds out the three-point play. Johnson has had quite a night for Mary Baldwin. Oh, and getting out in front of that one is Johnson again. Tired legs or not, and converts at the other end.
She seemed to found that second wind,
yeah.
extra gear, looking like McFarland out there.
She's got 19 by my count. Gamby dangerous, letting the defenders collapse in on her. Skip to the top. Shot is off. There's Gamby for that pressure defense, though. Not allowing a fast break. Another hard move to the cup. Boy, Johnson again. So impressive. She's spent a lot of minutes in this game. I believe only has one foul. 21 points.
And 3 seconds out again. Just the Knights post players feeling so powerful that they just don't want to give up that position and getting that 3-second call.
Now you can see the floor is starting to become discolored because the light has been on the area around their feet more. Gamby again just about coming up with another steal. And a full timeout taken by Coach Stevens of Mary Baldwin. So how do you rein somebody like Gamby in? Because she can be such an asset to just, create havoc for the other team's offense, for their point guards, shooting guards, whatever, anybody trying to handle the ball. But she can also be a liability with fouls. How do you, as a coach, how do you coach that?
Well, you got to sit her down and watch film with her and say, listen, this is what you do really well for us, and when you get out of control, when she's in control, and she was able to control herself really well this year in soccer. Last year, again, all over the place, but in soccer this year really was in control of her body, of her emotions, and played to a very high level. She needs to do the same thing in basketball, not allowing herself to get so caught up in the moment of, I got to go get the ball, She needs to pick and choose her moments and just use her natural assets to her advantage, not press the play so much. She's going to find times that just being average is going to put her far ahead of the opponents.
Let it come to her.
Let it come to her and not try to make every steal. And again, for young players, that's the hardest thing is learning when to pick and choose your battles.
Soft touch again by Johnson. Again, unofficially at 23.
There's Johnson again.
And just, there's nothing but fight in her this time, kicking it over to Willis, who unofficially now at 15. Good look inside that time to Durant using the glass, no luck. Stick back, no good. Second stick back is good. Nicole Clark now on the board. And now again, every Knight who has set foot on the court has scored. And a nice move to the bucket that time. Precious Parker,
And
I believe her first points of the game.
And that's something that you can't say in every game. Again, that's a great testament to your teammates. Looking for you, making sure that they're putting you in a position that you can be successful, especially when the game is so much in your favor.
Yep, finding those opportunities. Good look that time. Shot is off the mark, but it will stay with the Knights. Looking for the all-important century mark. And another steal. Bria Johnson. And at the other end, 25 by my count. And a lot of steals to go along with it. Knights working it around, going back to the corner. Over the top, back to the inside. Durant with a step. And who else but Gamby to reset. Look back inside again.
Long time that the Knights have held on to possession, getting offensive rebounds after offensive rebounds after offensive rebound.
3:24 left in the game. Boy, and some of that's Johnson. Some of it, you got to be worried if you're Coach Roberts. There's some sloppy passes.
Yeah, there's some really sloppy passes.
Oh, good look. That's another bucket inside for Nicole Clark. Nice try from the outside, but no good. Driving again, and a big rebound that time by Clark. Knights moving it up. Kick to the outside, looking back inside. And it'll stay with Southern Virginia.
And Johnson is doing everything she can to try to get the ball
Working
back for
it
her
inside.
team.
Yep.
Again, the Knights making some uncharacteristic passes. Passes that you cannot make against better teams.
A little confusion on the inbounds. And it leads to a turnover.
And this will be a learning opportunity for the Knights. The coaching staff, Coach Roberts and her assistants will be able to go in and say, okay, we did this and this and this well, but look where we started to lose concentration. And we can't afford to do that against the rest of the teams that we play. So this is a great win for them. And sometimes you can be a little bit harsher with your critique when you win than you can when you lose.
And a little bit rough on the closeout that time. Kramer stepping in and putting two hands. Her third. We have seen fouls decline significantly. I think both teams recognizing the situation that we're in. Strong move that time by Johnson, but it doesn't drop. Shea Wilcox now with possession for the Knights. Working it around into the corner to Gamby. Back up top, good hard pass inside. Durant unable to convert. and it will be Mary Baldwin basketball.
And those
a line change now.
line change.
Clearing the bench. And the players coming out appreciating the rest, as well as the players coming in appreciating the opportunity, I'm sure.
Like I said, there'll be some tired Fighting Squirrels on the way back.
Absolutely.
To Stanton.
Short on that, and a scrap for the ball. Gambia, of course, in the scrum and comes up with it. Able to get it out to Wilcox. High off the glass. Shot is off by Durant. Shot is short that time by Brazil.
Just no legs there.
Now with a minute left. Gambia moves it around. Back up to her up top. In the middle to Durant. 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Gambia looking to move, and a travel. .7 now, 10-second difference between shot clock and game clock. A little anticlimactic compared to our first game of the night.
A little bit, but a win is going to be a win, and
Absolutely.
a doubleheader win is fantastic for the Knight Nation.
Absolutely. Got to be excited if you're one of the Knights who stuck around for this one. Certainly lots heading out to spend Thanksgiving with family and friends.
Well, our next broadcast, Art, will be on December 2nd. A doubleheader with the men and women against Marymount, a Capital Athletic Conference foe.
That will be a fun one for sure. Knights working the ball around. Oh, and not sure what the goal was there. That's Kirsten Brazil, her fourth.
And the Knights can just hold on to the ball now and go home with the win.
And that'll do it. The Knights win 101-62 over the Mary Baldwin Fighting Squirrels. As we mentioned, every Knight who's set foot on the floor able to get a bucket. That's great. Very distributed scoring for the Knight, even at the top end. Wonderful to see that. And then from the Fighting Squirrels, a heroic effort by Cabria Johnson, 25 points. Rakima Willis with 15. Juanisa Singletary at 9. Anicia Woods at 7. Relatively distributed scoring there. They just not quite enough scorers up that high to pull off the win.
Yeah, just again, the Knights were able to out-athlete them, able to go through and just show a lot of poise and explosiveness on the defensive end. So, again, good win for the Knights. They're able to really try to fine-tune a lot of things that they haven't been able to do, mainly in practice. And we'll see how this fares for them against Washington Elite coming up on the 30th. And then, again, we get right into the Capital Conference starting on December 2nd.
Certainly some tall tasks ahead of them. Hope they can take the enjoyment, the success of tonight to take them through what could possibly some tough times. We do have an interview for you here. Larissa McFarland, someone, Mike, I think you're a little familiar with.
A little bit. Hey, Larissa, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Coach?
Doing well. Congratulations. 19 points, 1,000 rebounds, it seems like. And you just seemed like, again, from your freshman year to now, just a lot of energy, a lot of team spirit, and you being one of the major seniors on the team, really the one that's been there the longest. What do you feel like your role is to try to help these younger players expand in their roles?
It's kind of like you said, just being energetic and being ready to go and getting out and running and really encouraging them to take the shot when they have it open or just play like they can play. And so yeah, I think just keeping my energy up helps them keep their energy up, which is good all around. So.
All right. Well, and you always have energy to spare. We called you the Energizer Bunny for a reason. Now, great win. You're able to practice a lot of things, especially against someone that is not your own teammate because they know exactly what you want to do.
Right.
And we're assuming that this is going to help you as you go into the Capital Athletic Conference. So I asked David Beatty this as we had him over. Where do you see your team now in the Capital Athletic Conference? We know what the coaches said in their poll, but where do you believe that you're at?
I think we're right. I think we are right there kind of in the middle, but we have a good opportunity to come out and really kind of jump on people when they're not expecting us and put on that tight press when they're not expecting it and then just run. I think all the teams are quick and a lot of them have really good shooters, but if we can run them like we've been doing, I think that'll help us out a lot. So we're right there in the middle, but I think we have potential to jump on some people.
Well, this is, like I said, this is a great game to get your fine-tuning in. We know you got Washington League coming up soon. They're in the middle of the pack of the ODAC, and then you jump straight into some really tough games in the Capital with Marymount, York, and then you go out to Oregon and play some tough games, one of the Division II national runner-up.
Right.
And then you come back and start off with Christopher Newport. So, you know, what do you think is going to be the key for y'all to maybe make it into the Capital Conference tournament?
I think kind of like you said, us being young, tonight we kept composed really well on offense, and I think that's essential. That's key. We have to be able to keep it together on offense and then be high pace and kind of get the other team out of their wits on when we're playing defense and be able to keep that balance. And if we're able to do that and master that, I think that we'll be able to give some of those teams a run for their money.
Well, we believe that you're one of the major keys for this team. We noticed and made the comments that, you know, quick jumper, able to do a lot of things in the lane. Someone taller or bigger than you guarding you can take them to the basket. Someone smaller, you're going to post them up. So we're really looking forward to see how you not only progress during the rest of the year and how your leadership brings everybody else along, but how the rest of the team goes along. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the win. Have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you back here on Tuesday.
Thanks so much, Coach.
All right. Well, again, we'll be back on Tuesday night. The Knights do have a game against Washington and League coming up on Saturday. Tuesday night, we'll have a doubleheader with Marymount. The women start at 5:30, the men at 7:30, and right into the Capital Conference. If both the men and women can take that first Capital Conference win so early in December, it will really catapult them into the rest of the season.
Well, and here's to hoping. There's the promise already made by David Beatty for the men's. We'll see how that goes. Best of luck to both teams.
Best of luck.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Again, the Southern Virginia Knights defeat the Mary Baldwin Fighting Squirrels here in the second game. And in case you missed the first one, the Southern Virginia Knights men's team defeating the Eagles of
Bridgewater.
Thank you. It's been a long night.
It has been.
In overtime. But thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we'll see you back here on December 2nd here in the barn at Southern Virginia. Thanks, everybody.